Some things are just certain in life, such as death. Do you remember your first Deathclaw fight? I'm pretty sure I know how it ended. Unless you're the type of person that possesses some sort of unnatural luck. Or you've seen a friend play and knew what to do, but do not ruin my metaphor, please. No, that sort of luck has some folk win the lottery or escape near death twice or more in their lifetime. And that is the sort of luck we'll be exploring today. So, who'd win? Dozens of Deathclaws or one courier yielding a BB gun that's filled with Deathclaw hatred and has only one question in his mind. Can I beat Fallout New Vegas using only a BB gun? And can I take on Roar, the Quarry, and the Promontory while doing it? Let's see. But that's not enough to blow up a video, honestly. I've no clue on how to do that. So let's just set a ridiculous standard. This courier hates Deathclaws, so what's the most embarrassing thing a level 1 character could do? What if I go into the Promontory, where dozens of Deathclaws like to chill with the sole intent to make the area useless to explore? The Promontory's most prized possession, stolen from under their nose without a single bullet shot. No punches thrown, a simple in and out. And okay, well, to be fair, to the Deathclaws, the most prized possession should be their eggs, but those respawn and I'm not about to make an omelet run, okay? So, here's the rules for the challenge. 1. I cannot engage in combat until I steal the Remnant's power armor from the Promontory. 2. And just to add salt to my wounds, I cannot use power armor in the whole run. 3. The only weapons I can use are BB guns, but that includes the unique weapon Abilene. 4. No glitches, and I can only use console commands to fix broken quests or to circumvent crashes I cannot avoid. 5. I have to defeat Roar, the whole Quarry, and the whole Promontory. And 6. I've got to finish the game. So without further ado, let's begin. One cheeky douche that's stuck in the 50s and a headache later, and we're bestowed the gift of seeing an old man having more questions than a 3-year-old. The headshot made the courier realize that his name was John all along, which is completely unrelated to the super chats I've received this past month. The stats I'm going with are 5 strength, 6 perception, 9 endurance, 1 charisma, 4 intelligence, 6 agility, and 9 luck. Personally, I think John deserves a lot more intelligence, but I really need the build exactly as it is. Doc Mitchell then tells me to sit on his couch, acting dumbfounded when I actually did sit on his couch. A very awkward pause later, and I've tagged guns, lockpick, and medicine as my skills. The traits I'll go with are Built to Destroy and Wild Wasteland, cause it was part of the challenge rules I needed to abide by. Well, the ones from the idea to have me do this video at least. Doc Mitchell then tells me he likes to snoop, Victor hits on us, and our very next step is to visit a certain house, so we can get a BB gun and ammo that I won't be able to use just yet. So let's stop by the schoolhouse where a locked safe hides our trump card for the first part of this challenge. A stealth boy! I then get a shovel from chat in the hopes of finding something useful in the cemetery, but I don't. Well, aside from the snow globe and the clue from Benny, that is. And so our journey begins. We passed through Brim, managed to reach Nipton unscathed, and who won the lottery? He did. Vulpes tells us the Legion ravaged the town and to spread their good word. Honestly, I will be needing the XP, so that's a quest I'll gladly finish later. And from here on out, things aren't gonna be so smooth, as the first enemy I encounter has a freaking grenade launcher. But I do manage to escape. I go through Wolfhorn Ranch and get safely to Camp Searchlight, where First Sergeant Asser tells us it's best to steer clear of the place. Yeah, I didn't make plans on staying either. With a bit of care and planned pathing, the ghouls are easily avoidable, and we get to the sniper's nest. I'll take the Sunset Sarsaparilla Star Cap for luck, and rest to get my HP back. Thomas then nearly jump scares me because I didn't engage with him back in Nipton, and trying to make it daytime, Malcolm actually scares the crap out of me, because I did take another star cap in Good Springs, so much for good luck, huh? I then make my way to the Cottonwood Overlook, where I have a surprise for the Legion, except I'm the one surprised, by not remembering that I'd need 50 lockpick to pull this off. Fine, Cottonwood Cove lives another day. And we're now one swim away from our first objective: to steal a Remnant's power armor from under the nose of dozens of Deathclaws, and to make it seem like we're stealing candy from a baby. I get that stealth boy going, thank Ukwelthought. And there's no Deathclaw in the entrance, so I immediately steered to the edge of the cliffs. That means that the hardest part, believe it or not, is already done. Now I only need to reach the farthest cliff while being in sight of the Deathclaws. Did you know that if you just stand on a hill, they'll just get their pathing so confused they'll just go somewhere else? So yeah, took me a minute or two for them to actually leave, but with the path cleared, all I had to do was the run for it. The Remnant's power armor, which I'm not allowed to use in this run, is ours, and so are the bragging rights. And don't ask me how a Deathclaw didn't one-shot me, but being only hit that one time, I managed to reach safety in the river. Ah, the king of New Vegas is back, baby! Now, since I'm here, I might as well do the main quest properly instead of fast traveling and doing the skip from Good Springs to the New Vegas trip. Especially because the map markers will be useful later, so to Novak we go. Oh, and yeah, I actually have a great reason to go to Novak.
Good.
The first Rakan Beret. That's a 5+ of critical chance. I need it.
That's it.
We then tell Boone he was dumb to trust us, and that will allow us to level up. I dump all my points into guns and decide to go with Swift Learner, cause I'll really need the XP in this run, despite what my intelligence stats might hint. Ya boy then gets another meet and greet with a grenade launcher, twice, but manages to reach Boulder City, where the NCR and the Khans are at a standstill. The Khans do recognize us. That's enough for us to level up twice, some points into guns, and Educated is the perk that makes us the most sense right now. Jessup gives us Benny's Lighter, I level up again and go towards the 188 trading outpost. Funny enough, this now puts me as close to the New Vegas trip as if I had just jumped a certain rock while doing the Good Springs to the Strip skip, which I've done a lot. Except now it's certain that there won't be any Deathclaws along the way to avoid. So I pass alongside Camp McCarran's walls, go through the NCR sharecropper field, and reach the gun runners. I sell nearly everything I don't need to the Vendortron, including the Remnant's power armor, and acquire all the BB gun ammo he has in store. And having reached this part of the game, oh, I'm so close to the unique BB gun that I need. So I decide to go and get it, but I can't, because of Wild Wasteland. Cause it's no longer in the shack, it's in a well that will not spawn until Rex notices it. Yeah, it was only at this point that I remembered that I'll have to work with the king. So I go into Freeside and buy even more BB gun ammo from Mick and Ralph's, cause I know a thug's about to attack me as soon as I cross the corner. The damage dealt is extremely poor. There's no way around it, so we gotta dip. Pacer then scams me, the king has a quest for us. The thugs are still after me, but fortunately, the other NPCs are armed. And you know how this one goes, we hire Oris as a bodyguard, he'll take a detour to make sure we're scammed, and... that's not how I remembered this one. Let me try again.
I knew you'd be back, so tell me, did you really think I'd be stupid enough to fall for this again? One of my men saw you go in and out of the king's place.
Okay, I really didn't remember that being an option, just yet another example in how this crash fest of a game truly deserves the cult following that it has. Oh, I do love me New Vegas. But this is awkward. Because now I've got Oris attacking me and I am not prepared for this. Coming closer to the kings and they do start to help, not without taking heavy losses. But those are just NPCs, so it's fine and we do get it done. The king then asks me to go to the followers' fort and to ask the locals how he can help them. Apparently, they've been attacked by the NCR, which is odd. So upon reporting, we are tasked with investigating further. Back to the fort. Julie tells us to talk with Major Elizabeth Curran, but that's not all we can do. There's a missionary that'll double-check if we are NCR knowledgeable enough to make sure he's not giving away precious intel. But we can just try the quiz till we get it right, so obviously what I do is to look up the right answers as I'm talking to him. And after knowing where the NCR is holding up, we chat with Elizabeth and discover that the envoy they sent to the king was just beat up, going back, and Pacer has some really shady dialogue, so we go up to the king and ask him what's up with the situation. He's unaware and immediately tries to fix it. Meanwhile, Pacer thought he had a chance against the NCR, so it's up to us to go to Elizabeth and both explain and defuse the situation. And that's what we do. The king's so pleased with our efforts, we can ask him for a favor. But first, another level up. And with guns up to 90, I decide to put the rest of it on speech, which is just gonna be my plan B for the endgame in case the build itself isn't good enough to defeat Lanius or Oliver. Although it just feels like a challenge lost, especially because I've just done a no combat / speech run. I just want to have a failsafe. I then inquire about Rex, and the king then tells us that the good doggo needs medical attention. I also cash in my favor and tell him I'd like to become a king, which is also the name of the tier for the channel members, although you're already being a 10 out of 10 simply by still being here. I just should throw that in there, you know. Julie then tells us that we're going to have to go to Jacobstown for that. So now I'm thinking, damn, do I need to do that Nightkin Cave quest too? I don't wanna. So will Rex be stuck with me as a companion if I don't? Cause I don't want a companion to be stuck with me for this run. It's a BB gun run. One thing's for sure, Rex is with me and he will find that well. Jimmy's well. And so we finally got Abilene. Finally! And some ammo too! And hey, remember when I foreshadowed luck as the critical hit build? That wasn't all the foreshadowing being done there. It's luck 10, casino time. Well, it's luck 9, casino time. But the casino time is gonna have me have luck 10 later. You'll see. Foreshadowing! Yeah! Cause I'll need to pass a certain cap check, and between getting the fake passport from Mick and Ralph's or using the build, I'd also rather be rich. Oh, and I also told Rex to wait in Freeside so I won't have to rely on him for the run. Anyways, we win everything in the Atomic Wrangler. And at this point I'm thinking, let's just go back to Prim and get some more money. Cause the Rex bit for Abilene already took longer than what I wanted, so might as well double down in effort. Cause it's a challenge I'm enjoying every bit of it, except the crashes though. But whatever, I'm a big boy, I'll cope. And there's also the fact that I'm curious to see if Abilene makes a noticeable difference right now. Especially cause the build is still so far from complete. And on one hand, solo combat's finally on the menu, boys. On the other one, though, how the hell am I gonna use this thing to take care of Deathclaws? The Steve Bison Hotel went okay. And on the first try as well, we rescue Beagle, and he then asks us to find a new sheriff for the town. Something I forgot. Well, kinda. I knew the sheriff bit, but I thought the casino would reopen Without it, yeah. So, 3 fission batteries and 4 conductors to reprogram Prim Slim, but I don't feel like it. I just have to be reloading until Chet or Mick and Ralph has the right inventory, so I'll just pay the toll to get into the NCR correctional facility and meet Myers, who'll agree to become Prim's sheriff if we get him pardoned by the NCR. Which reminds me that it's reason number 2 to visit the Mojave outpost. So, to Sergeant Kilborn we go, to spread news about the Legion's atrocities, and to not spend 200 caps to buy an early pardon, since I can just use speech 30 to convince him. Therefore, Prim's got a new sheriff. Oh, and by the way, leaving Rex behind did end up working to dismiss it. It just works. I'll keep dumping points into speech until Abilene makes me trust her. It's also a great time to take on the toughness perk for extra security. And instead of the casino reopening immediately, I gotta listen to Layla. Convince her to leave, wait another 3 days just like I did before she showed up, and finally, I can luck 9 Prim's casino for a lot less caps than I hoped for, but that's okay. The quests we've done for it were good experience. With our pockets full, not from Prim, it's time to pass the cap check that will allow us to get into the strip. Victor wants us to go right ahead and meet Mr. House, but I'm on a roll, so into Gamora we go for both fun and pleasure. Joanna says hi. I've also decided to dry up the Ultralux and the tops, so as the richest courier in the Mojave, it's finally time to meet Benny. He doesn't seem too interested when we threaten to Karen the situation into letting everyone know what he's done, and that's a bad move. Cause Swank's willing to listen, and we've got proof to back it all up. So he gives us Benny's room key for us to investigate further. Over there, Yes Man tells us how Benny's planning on overtaking Mr. House, and upon learning about the situation, Swank decides that maybe we can have our guns back, and that we probably should take him out. To be fair is so Swank can become Mr. House's bitch instead. But who am I to judge? And Abilene decides to show her true prowess. We are avenged. We get the platinum chip alongside some good loot to sell later and level up. Upon leaving, Vulpes gives us the Mark of Kaiser, and an NCR trooper asks us to go and meet Ambassador Crocker. But, so I get the magazines from the strip because I forgot to take them earlier. And what I really need is to make use of my Endurance 9. So, to the New Vegas Medical Clinic we go, and give me all your implants. Well, to be fair, I'll have to come back for the Charisma and Strength ones later. But also, I'll only be doing it as a completionist. It's not like we're gonna need them. Although, I'll obviously take every bit of an advantage that I can get. So yeah, we will be back later. And for that, maybe I can just sell snow globes to Mr. House. So first off, let's just head on back to the Followers Fort and get the one that's just sitting pretty, waiting for us. Then, how about we go and make a bet with George, the boomer who's not part of the boomers, because they have a snow globe in their museum. So, a bet, a bombardment, and 3 NPCs later, and we've gotten another snow globe. And there's another one in the strip. All we gotta do is pickpocket Sarah's room key, and voila. And since I do owe Rex a favor and need the experience, fine, let's go to Jacobstown. The way there was a lot easier than I remembered, although Rex, what the Cazador is, I found instead of having to fend them off. And then it made sense. All I've encountered was mantises. Marcus then lets us in. I go and chat a bit with Lily, cause Lily is love. The Nightkin, though, oh, they're a bit moody. Dr. Henry tells us he can help if we bring him a brain of a dog, and he then tells us where we can get 3, either from the Fiends, the Legion, or from Old Lady Gibson near Novak. 700 caps later, and Lady Gibson's dialogue is still as harsh but funny as ever.
Hooray! Mama's got something for you.
Upon returning, Marcus then tells us that some NCR mercs need to be dealt with without resorting to violence. My speech isn't high enough, so Norton asks us for 2,500 caps? Fortunately, Marcus will just cover it, but damn! And after fetching the money, we're good. Well, they're good. I'd be either way. And it's only now that I've realized I've forgotten the snow globe. Dr. Henry then does a brain transplant into Rex, and our debt to the good boy is now repaid. But I still need so many experience that to get the build truly going, it's best we just start advancing with the main quest. So I deliver the chip to Mr. House, he shows me the Securitron upgrade and returns the platinum chip to me? Lovely! Having hit level 10, I decide to go with Finesse. It's now time to go and grab the last snow globe from the cocktail lounge and to sell them all for an amazing 14,000 caps. But before we leave to go and get the 2 implants I'm missing, let's go for a jog, shall we? Having the chip in our inventory, well, we can simply unlock our way to Mr. House and meet the man himself.
Why have you done this?
Oh, is it just gonna be that bad? How about I just put you back in?
No! Ruined everything!
Wanna see my BB gun? It'll always be funny to me how the Securitrons manage to sneak in an aggroed line even though they won't attack you, after destroying Mr. House and all his hopes. Uzanagi then sells me the implants I needed, and it's time to move. I pass through Camp McCarran, some fiends shoot at me, but I don't engage. And some fire geckos do manage to corner me. This time, I cannot ignore them. But it's also a great test to see if we can fight back properly. And we can. Now, all we need from here is the Khan's map marker. Just gotta wait until it says we can go back to Yes Man. Not that I'm gonna do that right now. Actually, I'm gonna go back to the 188 and meet Veronica. On our way to Sloan, some paragangers attack us, which makes no sense, cause I never pissed them off. Chomps then tells us it isn't safe to go north, but we're not gonna go into the quarry just yet, so who do we meet? Snuffles! He's a cutie. We managed to fix his paw, tell the good news to Chomps, and that'll earn us some good NCR fame. The bark scorpions near Hidden Valley were no match at all for Abilene, and the biggest advantage of having Veronica as a companion is not the entry to the bunker. It's being able to skip the quest that they'll just have us do if we just manage to get in by ourselves. So we say hi to Ramos, leave the bunker, and I might as well take care of the centaurs near the holotape that would allow us access to the bunker if we needed. So yeah, I will take the XP from Mo and his kind folk, but not the one from the Brotherhood's first quest. I don't like having a slave collar around my neck, okay? It's a high luck build, and I'm not trying to traumatize my character. I repair Abilene, buy some more BB gun ammo, and head on in to Cottonwood Cove, where Cursor Lucullus has been waiting for us to take us into the fort. We meet Baldy and head into the Securitron vault. The Protectrons and the turrets weren't as bad as I thought they'd be. Seriously, just keep your distance, trust your luck, and it's done. First try. After installing the chip and upgrading the whole Securitron army to the Mark II upgrade, we can finally go back to Victor and finish 3 quests at the same time for that sweet XP. I also tell him that I don't care about Kimball, so I just managed to get both the Legion and the NCR to hate me. I used the level ups to get speech 100 and dump the rest into medicine, so steamies aren't useless. The perk I've chosen is Fight the Power for the extra crit chance against anyone wearing faction armor. I'm just hoping that's gonna come in handy in the battle for Hoover Dam. Oh, and I've just remembered, I've forgotten to go back to George to get my money back. This isn't the first time either. And there's just 2 last things I need for my build, and since the second one is to get to level 16 for the Battle Criticals perk, and the first one is in a DLC, Lonesome Road, what if we go into Lonesome Road to get a piece of an amazing armor that will help the build tremendously? The Coyote Pup didn't stand a chance, and just by going into the first area, the first quest is completed. We then meet Ralphie,
Ralphie! Fly far, fly fast!
we make our way through the facility where we can finally put this baby to the test. The sentries are simply not that hard to take care of. That surprised me. And now I'm doubting if putting those points into speech wouldn't have been better spread into other stats. But gotta have a plan B, you know. We activate the silo network security codes, fight our way through the last bit of the area, and manage to reach Hopeville, where everything will go wrong. Seriously. Ulysses won't shut up, as per usual, and that's the only thing that just about went as expected. Oh, and the marked men were a lot easier to defeat than I thought they'd ever be. The problem, though, is that before I got the laser detonator, the game crashed multiple times. And we're talking at least 3 crashes in less than 2 minutes of gameplay, okay? But sure, I can just pop the game back in once again and use quick saves. The game then crashes another 3 times before I manage to put a quick save in place, past the first detonation. And from here on out, if I quick save, it crashes. If I do a manual hard save, it crashes. If the game feels like crashing, it crashes. And most disgustingly, if I try to get into the collapsed overpass tunnel, it crashes. Guess what? It also crashes if I try to teleport me into the collapsed tunnel. I took down Blister for crying out loud. I need the XP to level 16. Most of all, I want the elite riot gear from the 3rd Street Municipal Building. Goddamn! This is breaking my spirits. I was already feeling like I wasn't leveling up fast enough. And gotta remember, the whole idea for this video was simply a high crit BB gun build against the Promontory. But then I had the genius of idea of making a massive BB gun run, cause of course I did. Oh, and that's not all. I even crashed twice trying to go back into the Mojave. And here's where I think to myself, okay, no, it is not my fault that I cannot get the elite riot gear, and I was allowed to use whatever I wanted for the Promontory challenge. So if I didn't amp the whole thing up, I would have done it. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give myself the damn elite riot gear to do the Deathclaws bits, and then I'll just sell it before Hoover Dam, cause that's the only 2 things we're missing. And it is my fault for trying to do everything on one video, but the optional bit for the BB gun run is not at fault for the whole thing. You know. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. You do know. Cause let's face it, that way I get to use the build I want for the Deathclaws, and I still do the BB gun challenge properly, as I should. So, not being able to get the XP I wanted the way I wanted, I nearly led the Mojave's fauna into extinction to finally get to level 16. Oh, sweet better criticals.
You want to buy wind ramen?
The tumbleweeds?
Tumble what?
Okay, you're crazy.
Crazy with low prices on wind ramen. You buy one.
How much?
All.
All my caps?
They are very good wind ramen. All caps.
I'm gonna have to pass on that deal, and doing so makes the Nightkin aggro, so I introduce him to my little friend. And this is where I must have been half asleep when recording the next bit, cause I thought, well, I can't just do the quarry and the promontory without knowing that I can beat Roar first. But I also can't go through Lonesome Road without crashing, so let's see if I can just teleport to Roar's cave. And if you're paying attention and know your New Vegas, my dumbass just found the wrong location. So all I did was defeat tunnelers and their queen at the cave of Abaddon. Fortunately, that did give me the confidence, cause knowing I took care of all of them by myself, first try and with nothing other than a BB gun, hey, I really like the build now. But let's actually move on to face Roar. I find the cave, quick save, and the entrance collapses as it should behind me. Roar then proceeds to annihilate me in 2 hits. A couple attempts later, and I decide to try it with Psycho and Medics, but it's still not enough. I do feel like it's possible though, and that's when Roar gets stuck in her pathing. And I do beat her, but that doesn't really feel like a win. So let's try it again. I pop in a True Police Stories magazine for the extra 5 crit chance, even though it's my only one and I wanted to use it in the promontory, but oh well, it is what it is. So let's give it a couple more tries. I finally do it, and this is huge. Roar is the strongest Deathclaw in the whole game. And this is doable. The whole challenge, I mean, not just the Roar bit. I then go and repair Abilene in Freeside, and since we're here, might as well do one last thing for fun. Another hilarious encounter, this time against Malefic Moth, Irate Ira, and Rancorous Ruth. Ah, New Vegas, you and your grannies. By the way, if you didn't know already, they're just actually a Monty Python Easter egg. Anyways, let's truly test the build by going into the quarry. The first young Deathclaw I find taught me a very important lesson. Keep your distance. I managed to draw the first 2 Deathclaws by the quarry's entrance one by one, and both of them are actual adult Deathclaws. They still went down, but oh man, this build is amazing. In the quarry itself, I see that big structure and the plan's now obvious. Let's try and snipe literally everything, cause I'm sure as hell not gonna go up close and try to bash them with my BB gun. The alpha male decided to slowly get sniped instead of truly coming at me. Going deeper into the quarry, and finally I spotted the mother and the youngins. Once again, their pathing allowed me to snipe them, and there was pretty much nothing to worry about. And with the quarry cleared, it's time to get our lunch and to tell the good news to Chomps Lewis.
Coming from anyone else, I'd say they were drunk or crazy.
Funny enough, that makes the NCR to no longer hate us, which is extremely handy and weird. But for the substation quest we still gotta do, it's awesome. Next, and as I was trying to sell some items to purchase some more ammo and steamies, an NCR ranger approaches me and hands me a 2-way radio. just in case I ever need their help, and honestly, I can only wonder. Really? Now? No. The one thing that's on my mind. It's now time for the main event. The promontory. I'm not seeing any by the entrance, which is all I could ever ask for. You'll soon see why. Except that's because all I found is one of the lowest probability encounters I could have gotten. On the whole quarry, there was only one Deathclaw. One! That is something that might happen, but come on, we have to do this properly. So, I go back to Good Springs, wait 3 full days, come back, and holy hell! This truly is a high luck run on a max luck build. Seriously, the odds of the quarry having only one Deathclaw again are immeasurably dumb. So, fine. I will come back later. I then decide to go to the El Dorado power substation and a Legion ambush comes at me. But at this point, nothing really worries me as the BB gun makes quick work of all of them. In the substation, they warn me not to get close to it, but I have to, so I do. They do notice an aggro, but I power the substation and immediately leave. And since the ones that aggroed were inside and no one had the time to tell their buddies on the outside, I can just fast travel away safely. No hassle. Yeah, go figure. Just don't expect me to complain about it. Another 3-day wait, and it's time to visit the promontory once again, where this time it is packed with the deadliest enemies New Vegas has to offer. I managed to draw in the first 2 Deathclaws I see near the entrance and using the river as cover, and since they can't attack me when I'm swimming, and will just go back up the hill after a while, predictably, they're goners before they know it. But before I can go up the hill to try and find a place to snipe them, another 2 come my way. So I just repeat what I've done. But this time one of them decides to wait near the river, so it takes a bit more to accomplish, but it's doable nevertheless. And with the entrance cleared, there's a couple of ways I could go about it. There's a small nest to the left, but there's 2 huge nests to the right. And whilst I'm pretty sure that the 2 to the right could converge into a ridiculously big one, I do not want to test if going left will get me stuck in close combat. So here's the plan. I go to the same spot that I used to mess their pathing in the beginning of the video and I'll just snipe them away. A whole 10 minutes later, I kid you not, and I can safely assume that 90% of the promontory has been defeated. There's still that small nest that I can't snipe, or mess their pathing I think, so the challenge is not yet a victory. I use the level up to get medicine to 100, get some more dinner, and start to inspect the place for any Deathclaws left. Out of nowhere, I see 3 of them packed extremely close together, and they just start running? Really? On one hand, I'm just on top of a hill. Literally just on the highest point, not trying to abuse the pathing system. On the other, yeah, they just saw a maniac destroy their whole family and come after them with a bunch of eggs under his arm, so yeah. I'd run from the courier as well if I was the Deathclaws. And with that, the promontory is now complete. Now, I need to hold my end of the bargain, so therefore the elite riot gear is no more. So, I'll just be using the Mark Trooper armor I got while in Lonesome Road from here on out. Yes Man then gives us the ending spiel and invites us to go and take the Hoover Dam for ourselves. The cons were no issue at all, and the Quinturians were fairly easy, even though they did break my limbs a couple times. Near the control room, all I had to do was to lie to the 2 NCR heavy troopers and they'll just leave. With the way cleared, I installed the override chip in Hoover Dam's control room, and Yes Man asked us what I'd like to do. And I'll take the army. instead of a glorified rock. Thank you very much. Once again, the legionaries we find along the way were not an issue. We power up the east side of the power plant, and a couple more Centurions later, we can finally move into the Legate's camp. The first Praetorian Guard just stands there instead of bringing the fight up close. And the others, before facing Linnaeus, didn't really pose a big threat either. But let me tell ya, Linnaeus is not going to be as easy as you might think. It will take me more than several tries, more than a couple quick saves, and enough critical hits in a row. Cause as soon as I shoot him, I'll have a powerhouse of a beast coming up close to try and destroy me in a couple hits, which he will do. Add to that I'll be swarmed by more Praetorian Guards than I've fought in the camp already, and do not forget that snipers will spawn in as well. This is hard, man. In fact, it's harder than Roar, if I'm completely honest. But once we get enough critical hits to take care of every single one of them one by one, Linnaeus goes down. And so do his fanboys, and all I'm left with is the two snipers that at this point will not be run breakers. So, for the last confrontation of the video, it's time for General Lee Oliver to introduce himself. And to teach me every single swear word of the English dictionary, seriously. Anyways, the cigar is a lie, Yes Man says hi, and before I know it, the Securitrons have already done everything that needed doing. Yes Man then hints that he'll take a nap to rework on his code to become sentient. But can I beat Fallout New Vegas using only a BB gun? Yes. Yes, I can. And I did it while turning Deathclaws into little bitches too. And that's it. I'd like to give a huge shout out to Steve Whittle and to John Walker for their continued support of the channel. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I'll see you on the next one. And I hope you have a good one.
It was fun. Take care.
Bye.